Roar. Growl. Snarl. Bellow.
Welcome to Paleobites, the podcast whose quality, like geological layers, has gone down as the years have gone by. My name is Matthew Dahl, and each week I and a rotating series of guest co-hosts talk about and rate a genus of prehistoric animal, be it dinosaur, mammal, arthropod, and so on. This week I'm joined by someone who, rather than their quality going down over time, they're aging like a fine wine. It's Alan Brooks. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I like how I say aging like you're so much older than I am, even though you are older than I am, but not by much.
Not by that much. Not by that much.
But you are the oldest out of our old little friend group, our D&D group.
I am,
some of them. Poor Matt Seivert. He's 13 months exactly younger than you.
Yep.
Little baby Matt Seivert. He's my best friend. It's fine. Yeah, I'll have to take care of him.
You gave him a lot of crap, but he's fine with it.
I take care of him because who else would if I wasn't? No, I'm just kidding. Oh, man. All right. So I haven't asked a dinosaur-related question in a long time. Usually it's just because I just get straight into the topic. But hey, for old times, dinosaur-related question. I can't think of a dinosaur-related question right now. So how about if you could, this one hasn't been asked for a while, if you could own a pet dinosaur, what would you be? And the caveat is, it has to be realistic. Like, you realistically own this thing and have to realistically take care of it. Which one would you want? So not I'd like a T-Rex. Like no, the T-Rex would just eat you and you wouldn't have enough land for it. No. Yeah.
Okay, there's a couple, one or two options. One is, okay, what's a small raptor-style theropod?
Well, there's plenty of raptors themselves that fit the criteria.
Like little tiny one, like maybe a velociraptor, like a velociraptor
I was gonna say
mongoliensis.
Yeah, like even like the standard velociraptor, like not the Jurassic Park one, but the real one would have been like. Yeah,
well, that's why I stated mongoliensis, because I will proclaim this to everyone who listens. The velociraptor in Jurassic Park is not Velociraptor mongoliensis. It's Velociraptor anteropus, which was later renamed to Dinocrocuta.
Yes, it was. Or it was renamed back into Dinocrocuta. It always was Dinocrocuta.
Originally, Dinocrocuta was going to be Velociraptor, then it got bounced out again, and it was only Velociraptor when Crichton was writing the book, and thus it stuck.
And that's why in the Jurassic Park movie they find Velociraptor fossils in Montana, which you cannot find Velociraptor fossils in, but you can find Dinocrocuta fossils there, so works out.
Or another way to say it, you can only find Velociraptor mongoliensis in Mongolia.
Mm-hmm.
But you can easily find Velociraptor anteropus fossils in Montana.
Ooh, how about Kuru? It's cute name. Kurukulla.
How big is that one?
It's smaller than Velociraptor. It's similar in size, but just a little bit smaller. And it has a cute name.
Okay.
Kurukulla.
So I was going to say like something like a Microraptor, but Microraptor's more like a flying squirrel sort of.
Yeah, Microraptor
lifestyle.
might be a bit difficult. Like, I feel like you want one that doesn't fly.
Yeah, no flying one.
You also don't want Halskaraptor because that one's like a duck. You'd have to have a pond for that one.
Wait, what? There's a duck one?
Oh, you haven't heard of Halskaraptor? Oh, you poor naive soul. Hold on. Let me send you a link to the Discord of Halskaraptor, the great Polish duck raptor itself.
Duck raptor.
Except it's not Polish. The name is Polish, but because the guy who found it was named after a Polish guy, but he was found in Mongolia.
Okay. Goodness. Okay, that is a little tiny one. The other one would actually be something like Dryosaurus, you know?
Yeah, the only issue I have with Dryosaurus is that since it's a herbivore, it wouldn't be as smart, which means it probably wouldn't listen to you. It'd be like a sheep.
No, it would. Yeah, it'd be a little bit more like a sheep. But you know, people keep sheep all the time. People can have sheep and goats as pets. So,
Ooh, how about Bambi Raptor?
Someone had a sense of humor. That's all I can say.
It means baby thief.
Bambi thief? Okay.
No, it means baby thief. Because Bambi means baby, and it was called that because it was found as a baby, but I thought it'd be funny to, name it after the Disney movie.
Huh. Okay. That is, wow. Okay.
So, anyways, I guess, I guess the answer to your question is that you would own a Utah Raptor. Case closed. All right, let's move on. But
No, not the Utah Raptor. That's like
yeah,
owning
big
a tiger.
scary, a big scary Utah Raptor. It's like owning a big bear, honestly. It's like,
Yeah, no. Nope.
Let's talk about something a little bit less dangerous. Let's talk about. Oh wait, we're not. We're talking about.
No, we're not.
Dinocrocuta. That's what you're gonna own. A Dinocrocuta.
No. Okay. Why don't you introduce this thing for me?
Okay, well, Dinocrocuta, first of all, it's not a big dinosaur croc as much as that name made me think it was. It literally means terrible hyena. Like, I don't know what, maybe they did that on purpose because they were like, this would be funny. People would think this sounds like a dinosaur crocodile. But no, it just means terrible hyena. So type it's a hyenid, a group of feliform carnivores that include modern day hyenas as well as aardwolves. You know what aardwolves are? Neither do I, but they're apparently closely related to hyenas. And notice I said feliform. Here's the thing about hyenas that most people don't know. They're not related to dogs. Some people think they're dogs. They're not dogs. They're not even in the Caeniforma group of carnivores. They're closely related to cats. So, the feliform. You know how carnivora, and I mean that specifically not as like meat eaters, but as the carnivore group of mammals, which is the, I don't know why they're called, it's so confusing. Which includes dogs, cats, bears, mustelids, you know the carnivora group of mammals?
Yep. Big group.
So big group, split into two, the caeniforms and the feliforms. The caeniforms include obviously dogs, but they also include bears, pinnipeds, which thus seals and sea lions, and also they include mustelids. So
Weasels, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, weasels, skunks, otters, yeah. The feliform includes cats, obviously, but also includes hyenas, it includes meerkats, it includes mongooses, fusa, a few others. There's some interesting creatures that... feliforma, it's a weird group. Like, there's so many animals that I didn't know about that I feel like I should have. Have you heard of, let's see, it's called a bitureng, or I think, or bitur... So I can find it, hold on.
Oh, what?
A binturong. This is an animal I learned of recently when I saw it on TikTok of someone at the zoo. And like, what is this giant 6-foot-long raccoon bear thing at the zoo? Why don't I know about this? It's called a binturong.
Huh.
It's a vivarid, which means it includes some feliforma creatures. Yeah, so I saw this thing, I'm like, it's huge. I should know about this because one day I might be mauled to death by it. But,
yeesh. Scary.
That's a fun fact. Anyways, hyenas are in this feliform group of creatures. So, like, they're closely related to cats more than dogs. It's weird to think that hyenas are more closely related to cats and, like, otters are more closely related to dogs. Like, you feel like if you look at them just superficially, you think it'd be the reverse.
Yeah. Welcome to the weirdness of classification, where there are some really weird family members. Like the giraffe is related to the pronghorn antelope.
Yep, and the okapi. More closely related to the okapi. Yeah. So, and you know what the have you heard of hyraxes? Hyrax. All right, here I'm going to show you hyrax. Then we're going to continue the stats because even though this is pivoting like we do on Paleobites, this is related-ish. It looks like a weird rodent thing. Or like a weird groundhog thing.
Okay.
It lives in Africa, but it's closely related. It's an afrothere, which means it's more closely related to elephants.
Weird.
It's related. It's in the Okay, afrotheres themselves are pretty varied. They include like aardvarks as well as shrews, elephant moles, and whatever stuff. But then there's Peningulata, which is more specific, which includes several groups. It includes elephants, it includes manatees, and it includes hyraxes.
What a weird group.
I know. But the reason we know all this, listeners, is because the consistencies in the bones. They show the origins of these things. Because all animals within a certain group, they have to be defined by a certain way with their bones. Now, someone who is a bit of a simpleton into this sort of thing, or a Luddite, I guess, a Paleo-Luddite, maybe I don't know if that's the right word, I would look at this and be like, surely these little definitions of the bones could evolve independently in other groups, because how could a hyrax and elephant be related? However, I'm going to trust that the people who actually study this stuff are smarter than me in this regard and know what they're talking about. So
either that or they were better arguers. That's a little bit of the secret of how things sometimes work is oftentimes it's not who's smarter, it's who can... Not totally, but there's a certain amount of who can provide the best evidence as to how.
That's the thing, and I can't. I'm just like talking about a gut feeling. Like I don't think the hyrax and the elephant are related because of my gut feeling. While these scientists like, here's exactly how they're related, and I'm like, okay, I guess you have more of an argument than I do. So,
yeah. Yep.
But. Anyways, so size the hyena, it's 6.3 feet. / 2 meters long, 440 to 840 pounds, or 200 to 380 kilograms. The skull alone could get up to 17 inches / 43 centimeters long, the size of a large pizza box. Now I'm hungry. Yeah. So.
And this thing probably was it was pretty hungry. I've seen a size comparison comparing it to humans, and this thing easily at the shoulder is like above hip height on someone. So we know that hyenas are pretty scary. Now, one thing I do have to specify is this thing is not actually a hyena. I mean,
it's closer like the hyena,
but it is very related, but it is not quite in the hyena family. What is the
It's more closely related to hyenas than any other modern creatures, I think. So
yeah. But it mostly became a lot like a hyena due to convergent evolution, though it is very closely related.
Yes, it is. It could reach a shoulder height of 3.3 feet. Now, for whatever reason, shoulder height is the way you measure mammals, and that drives me crazy because not all mammals, go up to the shoulder. Some go higher with a long neck. Like imagine measuring a giraffe by a shoulder height. That doesn't tell you the whole story.
It doesn't tell you the whole story, but this thing does kind of have a hunched over appearance. Yeah, now, if anyone's going to look at a picture, they look. Now we know all hyenas have a fairly thick neck, shorter hind limbs, longer forelimbs. The reconstructions of Dinocrocuta, specifically Dinocrocuta gigantea, has a enormously thick neck. Like the neck tapers to this enormous head.
It's because they're meant for crushing. Like hyenas are kind of like T-Rexes, and that their jaws are meant for crushing bone. Like
So if this thing gets a hold of you with his jaws, if it was around and it got you in the arm, your arm is gone. That chunk of your arm where it's grabbed you is gone. It just broke right through the bone.
You know how have you ever been bitten by a dog?
No, I haven't actually.
I have a long time ago, but I have, and it hurts. It hurts real bad. But guess what? Dog jaws are not meant for biting; they're meant for ripping. So it's nothing. If you've been bitten by a dog, listeners, and it hurts, it's nothing compared to what a hyena and by extension a Dinocrocuta could do to you. So consider yourself lucky you're only bit by a dog. Diet carnivore, speaking of which, what it's been bitten by would bite you if you're around. But thankfully, we weren't around then because it was time late Miocene, 11 million to 6 million years ago. That's before even Australopithecus. So our closest ancestors were still just very much like chimpanzees. Not really hominids in the slightest. Well, I guess they literally were hominids because great apes are whatever. Long story, but they weren't like.
Welcome to the complexities of classification over time. Would that actually be around the time that the most recent common ancestor of
between humans and chimpanzees? Yeah, I think it might be a little bit after. Let me double check that. All right. Common ancestor between humans and chimps time.
And obviously this thing is a predator. It's a meat eater. You don't exactly have bone-crushing jaws if your purpose is to
it is a little
vegetation.
It is a little bit after. They believe the divergence point between humans and chimps was 12.6 million years ago. So.
Oh, okay.
So but at that point, obviously, gotta think that if that divergence was that quickly, that means the split. They were still basically chimps. Like
we're still basically chimps, but yeah, big thing. And this we might have to address a little bit some of the misconceptions on how hyenas are. Some people still may believe that hyenas are primarily scavengers. Now, I'll be frank with you, any predator is a scavenger. It is a blanket term that all predators are scavengers, just not all
I know what you mean.
But
there's some animals that prefer scavenging, like vultures, but vultures have the benefit that they can fly. Though.
They can fly with very little energy over long distances. Land animals, not so much. So hyenas are often very good predators themselves.
Oh, for sure.
A lot of our appearance of hyenas just being a
Lion King did serious damage.
Lion King did it, but there's also images of lions who will steal the kill of hyenas.
I think lions bully hyenas off of kills far more often than hyenas bully lions. Like, Lion King was anti-hyena propaganda.
I can believe that. Now, we don't know anything on Dinocrocuta being able to attack in groups.
Yeah.
Scary as that is, be kind of like hyenas.
I would assume not,
maybe?
But I don't know. Like, do hyenas? They don't hunt. They're not like wolves. They don't hunt in packs. They often gather, I guess. But maybe they do. I don't know.
They're kind of in the, I would say, the low. Not quite like wolves. Wolves have an extremely detailed and exacting way of hunting, but hyenas do attack in groups. It's kind of I'd say a midpoint between kind of closer to wolves than piranhas, I'll say.
Piranhas, or like, what about those like Komodo dragons that all swarm up to kill?
Probably a little bit closer to maybe like a little bit closer to wolves than that one, but that is also a good.
There's not really
between the two.
There's not tactics really, but they are gathering
tactics, but they are collaborative combat or collaborative work to do it. In a way, they are mammals, and mammals tend to be smarter than a lot of reptiles.
By the way, I'm assuming not, but you haven't seen Mufasa the Lion King yet, have you?
No.
Okay, it's so much better than the previous Lion King, quote unquote, live action movie. It fixes a lot of the problems. But two, the reason I bring it up is it does actually fix something that's been a problem with the Lion King canon. Hyenas are shown both in the flashback and in the present day to be among the animals that are there in the Pride Lands. So that means that the hyenas that helped Scar weren't indicative of all hyenas. They were just some really bad ones. Like Scar's a really bad lion. I'm like, that's a nice fix, Disney.
That's an interesting idea.
I like
it.
Yeah. Anyways, although it's funny, like there's a picture here of Dinocrocuta confronting the saber-toothed cat, Amphimachairodus. See, the thing is, the reason why you hear Amphimachairodus, that's like, what the hell kind of name is that? The Machairodontids are a group of cats, a subfamily of cats that are different from other cats. See, here's the thing. Cats is not a universal term. There's felids, but then felines are something different. Felines are not... Feline is not synonymous with cat. Not fully. A lion is not a feline. It is a pantherine. Felines only include the small cats and some bigger cats, like but certain ones like cheetahs and mountain lions. But most other big cats nowadays are pantherines. But then the saber-toothed cats were what's called Machairodontines.
Okay.
Separate family of cats. So, anyways, as opposed to now, back to Dinocrocuta, where it lived, it was all throughout Eurasia, including we found fossils in Spain, Greece, Bulgaria, Turkey, Iran, Pakistan, India, Mongolia, and China, and all throughout North Africa.
Ooh,
now,
that's scary.
Once more, I must reiterate that the reason creatures of more recent times, like the Miocene and the Pleistocene, the reason why they were so widespread throughout the world compared to older creatures is presumably due to the lesser amount of time the fossils needed to survive to get to this point. And it's likely that many dinosaurs or other older creatures... it's likely that many dinosaurs or other older creatures had similarly wide ranges when they were alive as well. It's just their fossils in many of those areas didn't make it to the modern day.
Oh, yeah. That's
what I was assuming. Described in 1976, pop culture appearances, none I could find, unless you count the Asylum film Dinocroc, because the name sounds similar.
Probably not.
That one includes more of a dinosaur-croc hybrid monster, so I assume it's something called, which is what, again, I assumed Dinocrocuta would be when I first heard of it. So, Dinocrocuta, though, like, it was, like you said, it wasn't a full scavenger, but like you said, predators can't, if there's a dead animal there and it's not like too disease-ridden and disgusting, no predator is going to say no.
No, no predator is going to say no.
But,
well, do you think there's a chance that, like, okay, then that's actually sort of a side tangent of how come if you play dead to get bears to leave you alone, like brown bears to leave you alone then?
Probably because I would assume it's because they're not attacking you because they want to eat you. They're attacking you because they think you're a threat. That's what I would assume. Although Jim Gaffigan did a bit about that in one of his stand-up specials, where he's like, that kind of argument makes it sound like it was written by bears as a way to trick humans. And like, so like, oh, you want to play dead, you also want to coat yourself with honey.
Okay.
But I would assume it's because that way the bear, it's not, when it's attacking you, it's not because it wants to eat you. It's because it views you as a threat. And if you try to, like, sometimes, like, especially depending on the bear, like if it's like a black bear, you can usually just like go, huh, huh, and then just puff your hand, your chest out and throw your hands up, and that'll usually just cause it to drive away. But for some bears, they'll view that as a further challenge and destroy you. So if you play dead, they'll be like, okay, well, it's not a threat, so I'm going to leave. Now, it could backfire, I guess, if it is hungry.
Yeah.
Well, which then, I guess, maybe if you like, then, like, say, oh, I'm not dead, it gets spooked by, like, oh, I thought you were dead, it runs away, and then by that point you escape. But I don't know. Listeners, you might not realize this, but I've never been attacked by a bear.
Yeah.
And I'd wager most of you have not either. My dad had to deal with a bear at one point recently. That was fun.
Scary. Okay, so another kind of scary question. I'm full of these scary questions. Do you think Dinocrocuta would look at you and say, meal, or would it look at you and be like, nah, worth the effort? Like humans in general.
Humans in general, I think, probably. I mean, especially considering, like, we're slow and we couldn't really avoid it. Like, and it also depends on the human, like you said. Like, if it's you, Mr. Scrawny Man, might not worth the effort. If it's me, big, bulbous, full of nice, juicy fat, it'd be like, yeah, mine. But you might be safe. You'd run. Also, you're more in shape than me, so you'd run away, and while I'd fall behind and die.
Wouldn't exactly trust to be able to outrun it, but I'd run long enough for it to be like, okay, worth the effort.
Well, that's the thing. You don't have to outrun it. You have to outrun the next slowest person.
Oh my gosh.
You just have to outrun me. Which you can do very easily. I love the Miocene because it's like that time period where it's almost modern day, but it's still far enough back that it's still weird. Like, if you look at this picture of it with the Amphimachairodus, a lot of this looks like it could just be the modern day. You have the hyena, which is a bit bigger. It looks like a weird bear thing. The Amphimachairodus, which look basically just like weird lions. And then you have the corpse they have that looks like a pronghorn, or not pronghorn, some sort of gazelle. And then in the background, you have rhinos that just look like rhinos.
Yeah. And we're on the Wikipedia page near the bottom for anyone who's interested.
Yeah. If anyone wants to see this. So, yeah.
That, I suppose, is one of the interesting things about being in the late Miocene is that it's fairly close to nowadays. We have like an ice age between us, but a lot of stuff is starting to settle into more recognizable shapes as opposed to a little bit the weirdness of the early Cenozoic.
Well, yeah. Well, it's like the Miocene. There's not just the Ice Age in between us, and then there's also the whole Pliocene, which is because the Miocene lasts until about 5 million years ago, I believe, and the Pliocene is between 5 million and 2 million years ago, and from what points the Pleistocene, which is from 2 million to 10,000 years ago, or about 20 or 10 or yeah, whatever. And then now we're currently in the Holocene.
Okay.
Although some think we still might be in a new one called the Anthropocene, which means the Holocene would be very small. But
yeah,
we have changed a lot of the Earth, so.
Yep. But yeah, things looks like it's a lot more further away. That's why I kind of trust you with that kind of stuff, which is really cool that there's those two different groups.
Yep.
Time periods, if you will.
Yep, no, as it gets closer to modern days and as we can get more of history, decide, of course, the boundaries between these big periods would get smaller, so. It's like, have you ever looked...
things more apart.
You know how a lot of periods have those sub-periods? Like, the Cretaceous, the final one of the Cretaceous is called the Maastrichtian or whatever, like, and that, obviously, if you look at like that, in terms of geologically speaking, that only goes back so far. By the time you get to like, I think the Cambrian might have different ones, but pre-Cambrian, you're crap out of luck. Like,
yeah,
yeah, there are different ones in the okay, yeah, the Ediacaran though, the which is the period before the Cambrian. It's the last period of the Precambrian and the last period of the Neoproterozoic.
Whoa.
You know the Neoproterozoic, that classic era. I just blew your mind.
You did. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, we're currently in the Cenozoic. Then before that was the Mesozoic, where my book series Megazoic gets its name from. Then there's the Paleozoic, and then there is the Neoproterozoic. And which is the last of the three geological eras of the Proterozoic eon.
You might have to draw this all down. This is a little bit much for me.
Oh yeah. There's different time periods. So like the Miocene is an epoch. Okay, here we go. I'll level this out for you and the listeners. The Miocene is the epoch, but the period would be the Neogene is the one we're currently in.
Okay.
The Neogene, and the era would be the Cenozoic. And then the eon is currently the Phanerozoic, which is the current one, the last of 4 geological eons in the Earth's geological time scale. And just so like this is the last of 4. Keep in mind that this Phanerozoic began at 538 million years ago. So, and that's the last of 4.
Okay.
Yeah, but point is, like, the further you go back, the less defined it is. There are 37 defined epochs. The current epoch is the Holocene. So, also, as you closer get, there are certain sub-epochs, which are within the Neogene and Quaternary. And then there's ages. The current age is the Meghalion. When was the Meghalion? Hold on, let me check this out. Oh, the Meghalion begins 4,200 years ago, began with a 200-year drought that impacted human civilizations in the eastern Mediterranean, Mesopotamia, the Indus Valley, and the Yangtze River Valley. So that's your homework about geologic time, listeners, and Alan.
All right.
Got it all memorized? Because I'm going to quiz you on it now, and if you don't get it, you'll die.
Uh-oh, I'm in trouble.
Yep, bye. Nice knowing you. Anyways. But no, anyway, so back to Dinocrocuta. It's a pretty scary looking... It's like if a hyena and a bear and like a lion all mixed, and I don't like it. I will have none of it.
None of it.
The skull, the one that's on display in the Natural History Museum of China, which is the main picture of the Wikipedia thing, it looks terrifying. Look at that. You can just tell from the shape of that and the shape of those teeth, that is a crushing bit of bone.
Yeah, they got some thick teeth. I mean, I would almost be confused that this thing would be like some kind of Similodon type thing with such big canines on its front jaw.
I mean, to be
and
fair,
then just
having
the
big
head gets huge.
the big canines are, and that's just mammals in a nutshell. To be fair, so. But
still, they look huge. They look huge. I was almost like, am I on the wrong page?
Is this some sort of saber-toothed cat?
Yeah. I mean, it is a feliform.
Yes,
so,
it is.
Sort of right.
Indeed, sort of right. Well, no, except cat is specifically not. Again, it's like the whole felines aren't cats. Cats aren't feliforms. So, but feliform. Wait. No, cats are feliforms, but not all feliforms are cats. I know the square rectangle thing, but yeah, Dinocrocuta is a scary thing. I want nothing to do with it. Let's move on and rate it 1 out of 65 million. I'm gonna rate it 45 million, but it's like a fearful 45 million. Like I fear if I rate it any lower, it'll attack me through time and space.
Yeah, probably the same with me. Like 45, maybe 45 and a half, because Hyena's had a good idea with, get really tough on the jaws and actually be surprisingly fast and smart. Just, they're not supposed to be that big. They're not supposed to be that big.
No, stay away. Stay back there in time. And it did. And I appreciate it for it. All right, well, that's it for this week. If you want to get hold of the show, you can contact me at palebytespodcast@gmail.com and at palebytespodcast on Instagram and TikTok, I believe. Actually, no, I'm not on TikTok. I'm on Blue Sky. That's the other one I'm on. If you want to follow me, you can follow me at Matthew Creator on Facebook and Matthew64 everywhere else, except for Twitter, because Twitter, down the drain it goes. But I am on Blue Sky, and I am on Instagram with those names. If you want to find Alan, don't. He is untraceable online, and good on him. Smart on him, I should say. If you have any questions for him, just relay them to the paleobytespodcast@gmail.com, and I'll let you know. I have a book series on Amazon, Megazoic, available for print and Kindle. Obviously, no Dinocrocuta in it, because a bit after when those books take place. So
far after. But yeah, that's it for this week. So long, and try to stay safe out there in the Serengeti, where these things lurk, and the ghosts lurk anyways. So yep.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. If you want to further support the show, you should subscribe to my Patreon at patreon.com/MatthewDonald, where you can get ad-free episodes, and you can get the raw, unedited episodes, and every month you get bonus episodes where we talk about pop culture featuring prehistoric animals. We've talked about Jurassic Park, we've talked about the obscure strategy game Dino Island, we've talked about Friends, we've talked about Google Chrome, we've talked about Dinoverse, we've talked about Terra Nova. Who knows what we'll talk about? It's a mystery every time. So go and check it out at patreon.com/MatthewDonald. Thank you so much for listening, and have a good day. Chomp.